Hello, world. Today I wanted to share my experience after I came back to China. So, my Chinese isn't very good yet, and I need to practice more. When I go to the grocery store, I try to interact. Even if I can sometimes bypass the interaction, I try to. I try to leverage that interaction even to use a sentence that I've got down, just so I'm always using different phrases in Chinese, Mandarin. And for any of you who spent time in countries with a foreign language, it's different when you spend time somewhere with familiar language. Like I spent time in Malaysia. They have plenty of languages in Malaysia. However, in KL, English is widely spoken. You never need to learn Malay. Now, I do recommend the basic phrases. I spent several years there, so I will say you can get by in English. In China, it's not nice to just try to get by in English. Chinese is something I want to master and learn. But I was really touched recently when I thought over a few interactions I've had. There was the time I was in Chongqing in maybe 2019, and I was on the subway, and there was an interchange section. I didn't know that. You had to change to the next cart to continue on down that line. I'm sure it announced it in Chinese or maybe even in English because they're all in English now too. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. There was a guy who came up to me, very quiet, very polite. You could just tell in his nature. He pulled out his translator and he said, "You're going to have to transfer from here to here if you're going to the terminal station on this side." I was just like, wow, this guy was very aware. Like he could tell that I was a foreigner there. I looked a little lost, maybe looking at the map. I didn't ask. And funny enough, I had actually taken that route before, but I didn't know the interchange. So, because they were doing maintenance on the train or something that day. So, I've experienced that form of kindness when I was in Chongqing many years ago. And I've been reminded recently, you go to the store, you go to a fruit store, and you don't have to be a smoker to appreciate this. The guy just is going for a smoke, like the owner of the little store, and he pulls out one and he just gives it to you. Even if you don't smoke, I appreciate the gesture. And sometimes people do these weird things that you just get emotional, and I don't want to say it moved me to tears, but a little, like I felt that teary feeling, and I'm not someone who cries um that often. I'm trying to remember the last time I bawled my eyes out. Would be nice to have a good cry, but I really felt touched when I went to the grocery store here in Hefei, and I went to buy some of these already cooked steamed or baked steamed, I believe, potatoes, sweet potatoes. And it was the end of the night, so all the fresh ones will be baked. Sorry, they'll be baked fresh daily. So it's the end of the night. They're still good, but you wouldn't want to have them overnight if you could have the fresh one, right? So I'm like, I'll just take this one and that one, two. And she has her coworker weigh it. And then after, she's a bit of an auntie, quite, and woman maybe in her 40s, 50s. She looks at me and smiles because I was communicating with her in basic Chinese. And you could tell that she appreciated the effort. And I was just like, yeah, yeah, I can speak a little bit. And Chinese people are super nice. So she's just like, no, your Chinese is so good. Again, pure flattery. She goes and grabs two more sweet potatoes and just puts it in the bag. And she's like she's talking fully in Mandarin. She's like my coworker doesn't need to know. And I was just so touched by her kindness, um, because it was just this appreciation that I tried to communicate in her language. She could see that it wasn't perfectly smooth, but it made her smile. And then she gave me two more sweet potatoes. It was just an act of kindness that nobody had to do for me, and it's the gesture more than anything. But on the other side, the the human interaction there really got to me, because those small things, although I'm very limited in my expression, my self-expression in who I am in Mandarin or in China, actually, because I'm trying not to surround myself with expats and people who only speak English all day. That doesn't mean I don't talk to anyone who's, speaks English, but I'm trying not to get into that bubble. I'm trying to, put the discipline. I'm like, oh man, I got to study. I haven't been fully on top of it, if I'm being fully transparent. But that reminded me of the joy of human communication beyond language. It reminded me of what I used to say when I talked to people and they didn't understand, because we both spoke different languages and we had to try to meet somewhere in the middle. And I've had some people get frustrated, and I kind of told them, or tried to tell them, look, language is just a tool for us to communicate. If there's something to be communicated, it can be communicated. It's just a little talk. I just really felt touched by the level of human communication, even without perfect language, even without a shared culture. Although I'm trying to learn the more, I'd say I have a good idea about the culture more than the language. But without that sort of shared history, we always share our humanity. And that connects. That really connects. So yeah, I just wanted to share these emotions kind of coming to the surface as I've experienced things like that guy on the subway or that auntie in the grocery store. And I think a lot of you jaded people out there need to realize that there's good in the world, and it's worth talking to our fellow man.